if you haven't fallen in love with Kikoro just yet, Kikoro Shinomiya, episode 3 of season 2 of Kaiju number 8 will really make you fall in love with her, or at least make her, a great addition to your favorite characters. She's probably top 3 for me right now within Kaiju number 8. She's like number 2, maybe even number 1. Fuck it, I just might make her my number 1. My number 1 waifu, Kikoru Shinomiya. She is a young prodigy of Kaiju slaying. And look, we have the same birthday month, September. So in this anime, she just did. It was just pretty much all about her and Hibinu Kafka. And I can't blame Hibinu for having this fear of hurting his comrades and whatnot. And let's be honest here, when you're in your 30s or 40s, we are a little bit more jagged than most people. Right here, Kikoru is probably way younger than Hibinu. She probably has way more passion because her, she is pretty much an army brat. You know what I'm saying? An army brat, and now she's obviously like a vet. I would see being part of the defense force within the Kaiju Defense Federation as an army, like a militaristic type of organization. So she's pretty much like an army brat because her dad was a fighter, Kaiju fighter, and her mom died in the line of duty fighting off these Kaijus. So she all her life she's been seeing, her mom and dad just fighting against Kaijus all her life, and then training up to it in order to become part of the defense force, part of this army, part of this organization. So she's pretty much an army brat. She already has the resolve. She already has the grit. She already has the wit. She already has the real knit and gritty of wanting to serve and protect, because her mom died in the line of duty. And when you have somebody who dies in the line of duty, who put their life on the line, you as a person aspire, you are inspired to be just like them, just like your parents. They're your heroes. So this anime just did such a great job showcasing her relationship with her parents, specifically her mom, how everyone sees her mom. She used to be like this all-star, this well-respected, Kaiju slayer. And of course, on the line of duty, she died. And so, if you're not a fan of Kikoru yet, I think this episode will definitely make you her fan. When we first met her, she was this bratty, rich girl that got everything handed to her. But now, the layers have been peeled back. And I now see her as more as a human. Honestly, I just saw her as eye candy. I can't lie to you, man. I love her, jagged eyes, her sharp eyes, her Japanese eyes. They're really far apart. They're really squinty. I love Kikoru Shinomiya for her jagged eyes. Her squishy face. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what they did to her face. I just love it. Love her. I think, blonde really does suit her. She gets it from her mom and dad. You can see here, this is her dad. He's pretty much the commander now, the lead of the defense force for Kaiju slaying. Then you had her mom, who's also prominent, a captain within one of those forces. Bro, like, come on, man. Oh, man, she just, I don't know, man. I'm just gonna leave it there. I'm not gonna comment anything about her when she was younger, oh, damn. All I can say is that it really just made me draw closer to her, made me understand her more, and made me see where she gets her resolve from. You know what I'm saying? Where does she get all that from? Where does she get, this ability to just fight in the front lines with no fear and with full confidence? You see here, she's just so proud of her mom. She spent all this time with her. And it just, honestly, bro, it's kind of heartbreaking. When you have such a great family, when you have a great mom, you have a great dad, and just to lose that just must have been such a heartbreaking thing to go through. It's something that, I don't think I'll ever feel, honestly, because my family's so broken. Maybe I'll feel it from my mother a little bit. But, but when you have such a great family like Kikoru Shinomiya, it's just such an eye-opener. Such an eye-opener to see somebody lose someone so close to them. And then you truly understand where they stand. You truly see why and what they fight for. You just have this real feeling, real life feeling of what are you fighting for in real life? What gives you meaning? What gives you purpose? Because this is what gives her meaning and purpose. Kikoru Shinomiya is fighting to protect because she couldn't protect her mother from the beginning. She couldn't, she couldn't be there for her. And of course she's young, she really shouldn't, guilt trip herself. But of course, she now has friends. She now has companions, like Hibinu is one of them. She has squadrons. She has humanity to protect. And so, it just, bro, I just instantly have fallen deeper in love with Kikoru Shinomiya, her life, and everything that's happened to her. Honestly, like, she's just not just eye candy no more. She's more than that. She's like a symbol of a good example of what it means to fight for what you believe in. This right here is what she's fighting for. Her mother, her memories, keeping them intact, following that lineage, and protecting her name. Not just protecting her name, but proving that there are people still out there fighting for us. And this really does bring back, us in real life. There's army people. I have a lot. This isn't insane, but there's like actually a lot of army people that I know that served our country, and I'm, salute to you guys. I appreciate you guys serving our country. And I worked with a buddy who he fought in wars, and he has PTSD. Tells me about his war stories, and I'm just eternally grateful that he would put his life on the line. It just really just brings it all back to reality. It really does. These animes just do more than just entertain for me, guys. If they educate, they open your eyes, and they make you fall in love with the characters. You can see here, they're at her mom Kikoru Shinomiya's funeral, and this is where our favorite character Kikoru Shinomiya went from being, a crying little baby. And it makes sense. You're allowed to cry when one of your beloveds die. Your mom or dad die. You're allowed to cry. Honestly, I think that's the only time I believe you should cry. One of the good reasons to cry. You have someone who you're really close with die. I don't think pets is that valid, but whatever. People do build relationship with their pets. So for me, this was like reasonable. This is really reasonable. She's crying for her dead mom. Extremely reasonable. I can 100% understand that. And so here, she's crying for her mom. Said I'll protect her, but she didn't. And then right here, she looks at her dad. There's just like profound look on her, like right here. She looks up at her dad right here, right in this moment. She's like, she probably just looked to see how he was doing. You know what I'm saying? She's probably thinking like, damn, I'm over here crying. How is my dad holding up? She's probably trying to get his attention too. And be like, hey, can you like console me? And obviously he didn't console her. This is really one of those moments where her father's determination, his anger, his sadness, everything he's worked up to, lost. One of his beloved, his wife. It's just one of those profound moments where she looks into her dad's eyes. And right there and then, the tears stop flowing. The tears just stop. She's just young too. A lot of people, they still keep crying. They still keep complaining. They still make excuses. They still act weak. They still choose to be, little bitches. They still choose to make excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse. They don't learn to resolve. They don't see these eyes. They choose to be victims instead of wiping away the tears and telling yourself, I'm not crying. I'm going to make the best of what I got and fight for what I love. And right here, this is the last time. I feel like this is like the last time she's ever cried in her life. Let's be honest. This is the last time she's ever cried in her fucking life. She wipes away the tears. She says all her, these little petty regrets and says no more regrets. I'm going to protect. I'm going to serve. I'm going to put my life on the line. I'm going all out. I'm going to be super confident. I'm going to put it all out there. But in exchange, I'll become the strongest. She's decided to become the strongest. No bullshit. No more crying. No more nothing. Put your feet on the ground and just fucking slay, girl. If you're not feeling what I'm feeling after this episode, you're just watching this episode just to watch it. Just to add it to a list. Just to add it to another anime that you're just watching just for the, shits and giggles. Just to have a little entertainment. Fine. But there's more to this story than meets the eye. And maybe the author didn't even intend for it to be this deep. But here we can just see, holy. That's a nice view too, though. It's a nice view. Thank you for that. Oh, shit. So, yeah. Fantastic to see Kikoru, where she got her resolve, what she's fighting for, and what purpose does she serve. Who is she fighting for? And all of that pent-up anger, all of that, she puts it on the line into the battlefield. No regrets. The only thing that awaits is death and destruction of our enemies.